Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're doing another whip tutorial series video today. This one's going to be on wraps. This is probably going to be the final video of this series because, as I've mentioned before, I am intermediate at best and I don't feel that it is my place to do any more instructional videos beyond this one, simply because I'm not good enough to be teaching this stuff. So, this will be the last one. We're going to talk about wraps, targeting, things of that nature. You know, when you get tired of cracking and when you actually get good at it, you can start pulling weapons out of people's hands and stuff like that, like Indiana Jones does. So, anyway, that's what we're going to be doing in this video. So, obviously, the first thing you're going to need is a target. So, this is my target. This thing cost me somewhere around $50. It's basically made out of a nice, heavy umbrella stand that a person might use for their patio or something like that. And then I basically filled it with some PVC pipe with a little T up here. And then I created targets for myself using electrical tape on either side. So nothing horribly fancy, but as you'll see here in a minute, it works pretty darn well. Okay, so I got my little target set up in front of the camera. So obviously, the things I'm going to be aiming at are both of these and this piece right here. Now, the key to targeting is you want the whip to crack past the target. You don't want to be hitting it with the end of your cracker. That's not going to wrap it up. So I'm going to be standing on this side of the target. The crack needs to be happening, you know, maybe a foot past the target, or maybe even a little bit further. So as it cracks and then comes down, it wraps around it. Now the thing you want to wrap around it is basically the fall. I mean, ideally you'd want the entire length of this fall to wrap around your target. So the best cracks for targeting are going to be the sidearm, the forward flick, and the overhand throw. Those are the ones that I primarily use, and those are the ones that you'll see used mostly in the movies. So hopefully I can hit the target here a few times without making myself look too bad. So we're going to start by trying to hit this one here. And distancing is very important. You're probably going to want to start adjusting your distance after you figure out where the fall is wrapping around the target. Okay, so that's about the distance that I want. As you can see, the crack came just to the right of the target, and the fall was coming right over the painted area. So let's see if I can hit it a couple times. There we go, there's one. There we go, that's a good one. I hit it again, but it didn't stay. That one didn't stay either. That one ended up going way over. It's not going to wrap every single time like it does in the movies. That's going to be almost a chance type thing, especially with something like this that's a little bit flimsy. Now, sometimes when I'm doing a stunt or something, I'll have somebody just hold their arm out and wrap their wrist up. And that's a little bit easier to do because the wrist is thicker and it's not nearly as flimsy as this thing. With this thing being as thin as it is and bouncing all over the place, it can be a little bit more difficult to wrap it up because of all the give. So, if that bothers you, you can just get a thicker piece of PVC pipe and pay a little bit more for it. Okay, as you can see on these ones that I've been doing right now, I'm using the forward flick on the majority of these. Now a pro is going to tell you that you basically want to, as you're doing the forward flick, aim right at the target. In my experience, if you're right-handed, you want to aim just a little bit in this direction of the target, and then as the whip coils out, it'll hit it. This is also going to be a safety issue if you're going to use like a, member from the audience or whatever. It's a lot better to hit over here than it is to hit over here and possibly hit them in the face. That's why when their arm is out, it's better to aim over here than it is here. I mean, here, if you're off a little bit, yes, you'll miss, but you've got basically no chance of hitting them anywhere here. If you miss over here, no big deal. Otherwise, you're just going to hit right on the spot. So that'd be my suggestion. I'm sure you'll hear a lot of things from other different people, but that's kind of the way I do it. Safety first. There's actually a scene in my movie where a guy grabs the whip and yanks it out of my hand before punching me out. And we ended up getting that in about 3 or 4 takes because I wanted to make sure that I didn't hit him or damage his suit or whatever. So I just had him stand there with his hand out, and we just ran the film, and I cracked it a couple times until I got it right in his hand. Then he wrapped it up and grabbed me. But yeah, you guys will see that in the final product, which will hopefully be out within the next few months here, but we'll see how it goes. So anyway, that's the forward flick. Now the other hand option is the overhand, which is a little bit easier because then you can just land it right on the target. And people who don't know how to crack a whip are really not going to be able to know the difference between this one and the forward flick. So if you're newer to this, the overhand might be the better option for you, because as you can see, I'm already having an easier time hitting the target on this one than I was with the flick. So that's another option. Now if you really want to get cutesy, you can try the underhand. There we go. But as you can see, that one's also considerably more difficult, so I would not recommend using that on a person. Okay, so let's see, that's the forward flick, the underhand, and the overhand. So, I mean, obviously you can do like the reverse sidearm or some of that stuff too. I mean, if you get bored, you can pretty much do any crack and hit that thing with it. I mean, the overhead would probably be nearly impossible, but all the other ones could probably be doable if you worked at it enough. But in my opinion, the easiest one is the sidearm, which we'll do here. There we go. Right on target. And another one right on target. There we go. Now the thing with this one is it's basically the same as the overhand, but you're just throwing it from the side. So another good one to try is to have somebody stand like this and then wrap it around their middle, which is really, really easy to do. Only thing you want to make sure of is that the crack is happening behind them. If you hit them with that crack, it's going to hurt. If the crack's behind them, it's just going to wrap around their body and look real cool, and nothing will happen. I shouldn't say nothing will happen, they just won't get hurt. Boom. Sidearm is the one that I enjoy the most because for me it's just the easiest. For you it might be the overhand or something else. But those would be the ones that I would recommend you start with, is the overhand and the sidearm, because those are the easiest to control where the whip's going to go. Just my 2 cents on that. So anyway, those are the basics of targeting. I don't know if I really need to go into too much more detail on that. I think you guys get the idea at this point. But yeah, the main thing is, especially if you're going to be using a human volunteer or whatever, is just make sure the crack is happening here, not here. If you have it here, you miss whatever, they can't get hurt. Here, they can. So just keep that in mind. As you've seen, I've missed a couple by going like this. But if that was a person, it'd be a lot better to do that than to do that and hit him in the face. So aim for the outside. If you miss a couple, oh well. And then of course if you use the overhand, it's a lot easier to just bring the whip down right where you want it to go. I'm not hitting the target exactly every time, but I'm within that far. And that's a nice, safety measure for that. No one's going to get hurt by doing that. And then the same thing with the sidearm. The sidearm, if they go like this and the crack is behind them, there's really no way to hurt somebody, which is really nice. So if you're looking to, demonstrate on a person, and you've actually got somebody who's willing to volunteer for you, start with that. It'll look cool, no one's gonna get hurt, and you'll build confidence. Bang. So anyway, that's all there is to it. Those are some very, very basic wraps. I would like to thank everybody who has stuck with me through this tutorial series. I hope it's been helpful. I've tried to make this the most comprehensive tutorial series that's on the internet right now. I have learned from folks like Adam Winrich and Darren Wilkerson, and they do have some great videos out there, but in my opinion they're just not detailed enough for somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. So I'm hoping that this series has been helpful for beginners and anybody else who's interested in this sort of thing, and I really appreciate you all watching. So take care and have a good day.